so much. And first of all, I want to start by saying thank you to everyone for your profound insights and stories. I feel like I've been sitting here and learning a lot, but also been very touched by everything that you've shared. And I really appreciate that vulnerability. So thank you. I'm coming to you from the region of Peel, which is part of the Treaty Lands and territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit. I want to echo what everyone else has said about Kamloops. It's something that, unfortunately, knowing our ongoing, the ongoing impacts of colonialism in Canada, that came as no surprise to me, but was absolutely heartbreaking to hear of regardless. And just to quickly say that a movement towards environmental justice must include collaboration with Indigenous peoples in Canada. So I want to begin with that, and now I will get started. Today I want to answer three questions for you. The first is, why did we decide to start Green Ummah, this nonprofit that's so focused on Canadian Muslims? The second is, what is so important about engaging Canadian Muslims on the environment? And the third is, what is so important to us about engaging Muslim youth? And I'll talk a little bit about why that's going to be our focus for the next couple of years. So first of all, on Green Ummah, pre-COVID, and this seems like a dream now, we were sitting around my dining room table downstairs, myself and a couple of friends, and we had all come from a Muslim community organizing background, and we were kind of surprised that we hadn't heard a lot about engaging Canadian Muslims on the environment at a national level. There was some work done. It didn't feel like it had reached any of us, and we all had come from different backgrounds, not environmental science by any means, but we had a shared passion for the environment and for knowing what we know about our faith at Islam and what it says about the environment. And through sharing our stories, we decided to start this nonprofit Green Ummah, which very much is trying to move towards a more inclusive movement towards environmental justice. Our focus is on engaging, educating, and empowering Canadian Muslims to become change makers in the environmental movement, with that focus on environmental justice. So why is it so important for us to engage Canadian Muslims in the environment? First of all, as Brother Yusuf said so well, that, in our Quran, in our faith, it talks about how we are the Khalifa of the earth. And this word has many meanings. It means that we are the deputy, the guardian, the friend, the steward of the earth. And so it's something that's actually embedded in Islam, that we have this religious obligation to balance into a respectful relationship with our world. And that's something that I think we should be paying attention to. There are over 1 million Muslims in Canada, and many of us actually, especially in Ontario, we live in key ridings that could influence the outcomes of election. And I say that point because I think that we have huge potential to make a difference for the environment, and that includes politically. So that's really important to me. And I think that if we engage Muslims through a faith-based approach on the environment, that could serve as a really important piece of inspiration for many. Just this May, we actually held the first National Muslim Conference on the environment, Greening Our Community Conference. And one of the things that we heard from a participant who reached out to us was that she'd been trying to engage her husband on the environment for years, and he was not listening. He didn't seem like he cared. But after listening to our panel about Islam and the environment, for the first time, he actually really started to listen and do research on his own about how he could become part of the environmental movement. So that really shows the significance of a faith-based approach for many Muslims. On the final question, why have we decided to focus on Muslim youth? I want to start by saying that if we want to address the climate and biodiversity crises we face, we need to recognize the assets that we bring to the table. We all have assets, and that is something that is so important. When I was studying at the University of Toronto, and I've just graduated, which is very exciting, I remember a classmate actually pointing out to me these decorative shrubs next to Sid Smith, which is one of our buildings. And she was like, "Hey, that's actually a community garden." And I was so shocked. I thought they were decorative. I never really paid any attention to them, and shocked that my fellow students had taken on such meaningful, creative environmental work that I would have never noticed without her pointing out. For me, the simple act of noticing was transformative. And this is one of the moments where I felt inspired to take on that greater role in the environmental movement, because, I know that for many others, noticing might actually also be transformative for them and get them to engage. I tell you the story because it's important to me, and it was a powerful lesson in two ways. First, it's that people are already doing the work. Many people on the panel are already doing the work. Many people in your communities are already doing the work. And so if you're interested in the environment, notice what's going on. Like, just take a look around and see what's happening. And you might be surprised at what you found and might find a place for you to join. And the second reason is because youth are powerful, we are creative, we're innovative. People my age have been experimenting with like hydroponics and rooftop gardens, and that's just the beginning. We need to recognize these assets that we bring to the table. And maybe you don't have a knowledge of the environment, and I think that's totally okay. As has been said before, this needs to have global participation in the environmental movement. And so whatever it is that you specialize in, if it's community advocacy, if it's law, if it's engineering, those are all different important parts of this environmental movement that we need to consider and include. I'm going to end by speaking a bit about what the work is that we're doing. So knowing what we know about Muslim youth, our next couple of years is shaped around our upcoming project, which is called the Greening Our Communities Toolkit. We've been working with educational consultants and with the support of Nature Canada to develop this first of its kind toolkit, which is targeted towards Muslim youth and focuses on 4 central questions. What does it mean to be green? What shapes how we think about our environment? What can we learn about Islam from being green? And how can you become a change maker in the environmental movement? And my hope is that through this toolkit, we'll be able to take people through that same journey that I went through, from noticing your environment, noticing why you think about the environment in certain ways. And so a little bit of that work of recognizing how, Eurocentric beliefs actually very much influence how we engage with the environment. And then also moving towards recognizing the assets that we carry and how we can use that to help shape our communities and really, radically include a perspective of sustainability and balance and respect for the environment in everything that we do. Our focus of this toolkit is to empower. We know that people bring assets, and I really, if you're interested in paying attention and interested in learning more about yourself and the environment around you, please feel free to follow us at Green Ummah, and our toolkit will hopefully be released in the next couple of months. So that's what I had to say, and I really hope you learn from it. And once again, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone for giving me this space.